houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Whether you're in automotive, sporting goods, hardware, health, wellness, electrical, electronics, construction, carpet cleaning, legal, or animal care, and offer exceptional customer service and provide quality services or goods, you're honest, reliable, and professional. If you have a business, we have the customers. Let us put you in touch with our loyal, supportive, and dedicated listeners today. They're waiting to hear from you. It's inexpensive. It's effective. Call KHNC at 1-800-205-6245. With the summer months upon us, let's all keep an extra special eye out for our senior citizens. Check on them on a regular basis, especially when the weather is hot. Make sure they have what they need. Someday we'll all be in that position. Wouldn't you like to have someone watch out for you? That's from Brush Housing Authority, reminding listeners, for housing programs, call 970-845-5046. That's 970-845-5046. That's Brush Housing Authority on the air, wishing everyone a great summer season.
A Muslim couple is found guilty of an anti-Jewish bomb plot. A woman here in the United States pulls a gun in order to prevent a smart meter from being installed in her home. Will Americans soon be tracked by government GPS devices in order to tax us per mile that we drive? The Mexican government is working with the U.S. Department of Agriculture to increase participation in our food stamp program, and the American dream has changed. Have you? My name is Howard Riell, and this is Real Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com, and on Facebook, and on YouTube, and on Real TV, and in the book, Real Truth, Stay Angry. And, of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number, as always, 877-254-7524. Item from the Haaretz newspaper in Israel. The suspected suicide bomber who blew up a bus of Israeli tourists in Bulgaria had a fake Michigan driver's license, ABC News reported on Thursday. Stop. My friends, it is no coincidence that this fake driver's license was from, of all places, Michigan. Michigan, as you will recall, is home to the largest population of Muslims of any state among the 50. Item from KCBS in Oakland. Bay Area drivers could one day be tracked using a GPS-like device in their cars and taxed per miles driven, a scenario that's part of a proposed long-range study aimed at finding ways to reduce traffic and pollution while also raising revenues. Stop. My friends, it's not while also raising revenues. They're doing it in order to raise revenues. Because they think you and I are stupid, they're saying, oh, we're doing it to reduce traffic and pollution. Poppycock. It's the money. Item from Jihad Watch. A Muslim hairdresser and her Bradford-born husband have been convicted of planning a terror attack in the Jewish neighborhood of Manchester in England. Shasta Khan, 38, and her husband, Mohammed Sajid Khan, 33, bought substances and equipment from supermarkets to assemble an improvised explosive device. Stop. My friends, you've got nothing to worry about. You're safe. Unless, of course, you live in a community that has Muslims and supermarkets. Police found a cache of terror-related material after being called to a domestic dispute at the couple's home in Oldham last July. Beheading videos, propaganda glorifying Osama bin Laden, and bomb-making guides were seized along with peroxide and bleach used by Shasta Khan in her hairdressing work, which together with electrical equipment were being ready to make a bomb. A sat-nav from her Peugeot 305 vehicle shows they'd been on multiple trips to Jewish-populated areas around Manchester looking for targets to attack. Stop. My friends, if you're not Jewish, don't worry. Don't worry about it. They're not going to leave you out either. I continue. A jury at Manchester Crown Court found Shasta Khan guilty of engaging in conduct in preparation for acts of terrorism and 2 counts of possessing information useful for committing or preparing for an act of terrorism. She was cleared of a 3rd count of the latter charge. Her husband pleaded guilty at an earlier hearing to engaging in conduct in preparation for acts of terrorism. British-born Muslim Shasta Khan was convicted by a majority ruling of 11-1 on the main charge of preparing for acts of terrorism. She cried in the dock as the verdicts were delivered and then wailed as she was led to the cell. Stop. Question. Was this chick crying because she was going to jail for a very long time? Or because she never got a chance to murder anybody? Item from Barbara Ginsburg in Israel. She writes the following: I say kol hakavod, all respect to Knesset member Michael Ben-Ari for destroying the Book of Testaments sent to all 120 Knesset members by a Messianic institution in Israel. The missionaries have been working for many years in Israel to convert the Jewish people. Now their hand has reached the Knesset. They continue to try and convert our children, taking their souls, and are allowed to do their soul snatching in Israel. Everyone is entitled to practice his own religion and be respected for that. But when it comes to people who convert Jews, that's too much. In other lands, Jews were killed for refusing to convert, such as during the Spanish Inquisition. Stop. My friends, I don't care what religion you are. You have a pathway to God. You can be holy. Don't go around trying to get other people to change their religion, especially in Israel. Item from the Rutherford Institute, Dateline, Phoenix, Arizona. The Rutherford Institute has issued a fact sheet in the case of a Phoenix man who is serving a 60-day jail sentence in Tent City Jail, Phoenix, Arizona, and was fined more than $12,000 for using his private residential property to host a weekly Bible study, allegedly in violation of the city's building code. Stop! Why the hell are building codes used to prevent people from learning the Bible? I just don't get that. A municipal court judge for the city of Phoenix has since declared that Michael Salmon may not hold religious gatherings at his home with more than 12 people in attendance. Stop! Hands off the people! Hands off the Bible! This is not what America does. It's not what America is, not what America was ever envisioned it should be. Saying that America will not have an official religion, that's fine. That's part of the Constitution. Someone wants to sit in his own home with friends and learn the Bible, and the government gets involved? No, absolutely not. Item from the New York Times: the time has come for all countries to know the truth and to speak it, said Benjamin Netanyahu. Iran is the one behind the wave of terror. Iran is the #1 exporter of terror in the world. A terrorist state must not have a nuclear weapon. The most dangerous country in the world must not possess the most dangerous weapon on earth. Stop. Mr. Netanyahu, absolutely correct. And so, when will you do more than just talk? Any idiot, even I, could get in front of a news conference, in front of a press conference, and yammer and talk tough and sound like a leader. A leader isn't someone who talks, Mr. Netanyahu. A leader is someone who does. A leader is someone who protects his people. A leader is someone who prevents the unthinkable from happening. Doesn't talk, doesn't look to make friends in the international community, doesn't go for sound bites and photo ops. He takes action. Action is what's needed. Action is what will save Israel, America, and the West. All the talk in the world won't prevent one nuclear missile, God forbid, from taking flight. This is Real Truth. We'll be right back.
Just a good old boy.
Hi, I'm Eric Cedarstrup. For over a decade, I've been the CEO, shipping clerk, and janitor of the Patriot Trading Group. And in that time, I've made friends with tens of thousands of like-minded individuals all over this country, most like me, trying to raise a family, run a business, and make sense out of a world gone mad. I'm proud of the fact that through stock bubbles, housing bubbles, and financial chaos, our customers are prospering and doing very well. By keeping our prices fair and our service fast, we find that 80% of our customers not only reorder, but they tell their friends. Don't be fooled by hype and high pressure. Do business with a company you can trust. Call the Patriot Trading Group at 1-800-951-0592 or check out our website at allamericangold.com. You'll be treated with honesty and respect. You have my word on it. I'm Eric Cedarstrom, CEO, shipping clerk, and janitor.
Making their way the only way they know how.
Looking for the perfect answer to your nutrition and health needs? Look no further. BioSuperfood, developed to heal the peoples, animals, and land after the Chernobyl disaster, has the most complete, powerful nutritional analysis for health and wellness. Easy to digest, BioSuperfood contains complete proteins, amino acids, and vitamins A, B complex, B12, C, E, D, and K. It contains minerals and trace elements like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, iodine, manganese, zinc, selenium, silicon, and it provides essential fatty acids, omega-3, 6, and 9. It's high in gamma-linoleic acid and has thousands of active enzymes and phytonutrients like chlorophyll, spirulina, and carotenes. Beta-carotene, alpha-carotene, astaxanthin, lutein, lycopene, quercetin, and much more. Save your money, save your time. Compare, and you'll find that there is no more researched or superior product available on the market today. Call now and get your discount prices on your next BioSuperfood at 303-257-7576, 303-257-7576, or BioSuperfood@hotmail.com.
Welcome back to Real Truth. The headline on YouTube reads, CNBC admits we're all slaves to central bankers. This is a clip from the Kudlow report. The fellow who's being interviewed, I'll be honest with you, I don't know who he is. He's some kind of an economist. It's not who he is, it's what he's saying. What he's saying is a bit of truth. Let's listen.
Mostly what they do is hold summits. I think that right now the question is, do we all work for central bankers? That's what I want to address to our guest tonight. Is this global governance at last? Is it one world, the central bankers in charge? Jim Uriel, you say we've got some downside here, a correction in the markets. Fine. But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do? Aren't we all just counting on the fact that there's a Bernanke put and that we won't go any lower than, say, 5% down from here? Of course we are, because if we look at the economic data, there's nothing to get excited about in that. So yesterday we saw some reluctance for the Bernanke Fed to expand their balance sheets and pump more money in. But the stock market knows that reluctance is totally different than not willing to do it at all. And that's why we saw oil implode and gold trade off heavily, because they're not a protected class. If the stock market starts trading off in the 10 to 15 to 20% area, the chairman's going to come in and throw some stimulus at it. So to answer your question, we are absolutely slaves to central banks, because and we'd love to be slaves of the economy, but the economic numbers continue to do nothing but trend lower. Mr. LeCamp, do we work for the central bankers?
We know that.
Mr. LeCamp,
we do. This is we do. Look, markets are driven by policy now. They're not driven by market forces. They're driven by fiscal cliffs. They're driven by central bank proclamations. They're driven by false rumors coming out of the ECB.
Fiat currency that's continually watered down. They continue to water our currency down so the markets go up and we feel good about it.
Yeah, and listen to what the Fed did this weekend. I think they really screwed up here. They said that we're going to do this Operation Twist through the end of the year. In other words, they're going to create uncertainty about what happens after Operation Twist, right at the same time that the fiscal cliff kicks in. Do we really want all that uncertainty?
Jim, we have to give the Fed a break here, because the Fed realizes that what they're doing is probably going to have very little economic effect. The only real thing that can help is fiscal and policy changes. So the Fed, all they have is rocks and stones left. They're just going to throw them. They know that they're probably not going to do any good as well.
Gentlemen, Jim and Jim. Isn't that why we know that there's going to be QE3? Isn't that why we know there ultimately will be QE3?
That's what I'm banking on.
I
love what you said there, Jim LeCamp, about the idea that
ultimately there will be.
Jim LeCamp, which Jim? I'm not sure which one said this, but that we're basically beholden to what the central bankers and policymakers do, rather than the fundamentals in the economy, because we have not been able to generate real growth without doing one of two things. That is debasing the currency or borrowing our way to a false prosperity. Jimmy Oriel, how do you invest under those circumstances? What's the question there, Ty? How do you invest under those circumstances? We invest because remember that every central bank in the world, not just us, ultimately has to devalue their currency. So you can't keep, you got to put your money in stuff. Big cap U.S. with good balance sheets, to me, is the world's tallest. Mr. LeCamp, every major country holds gold. That tells me that it's attractive. Is it attractive to you with a watered-down currency?
I think it's very attractive both as a currency and a store of value. I agree with Jim. Ultimately, you're going to want resources, but volatility is going to stay with us. So I think investors need to get used to trimming what they don't like and having their portfolio on rallies and nibbling at what they do like on sell-offs because these aren't going away. The only good news here is that free markets will fight back. When we see bond riots in Spain and bond riots in Italy, those are free market forces fighting back, and ultimately they'll win because investors ultimately will walk away.
I think.
Why does it take, my friends, riots across the world to keep the central banks from flushing our economies down the toilet? I'm waiting for an answer. Why do people have to take to the streets in outrage before someone can steward our economy in a way that benefits the people? You remember them, right? Those are the people for whom this country used to exist. Now we, the people, are a hindrance to the big shots. You seeing riots? Just wait. Item from NBC News, Dateline, Nashville. A federal judge has ruled that Muslims in a Tennessee congregation have a right to occupy their newly built mosque, overruling a county judge's order that was keeping them out. The Islamic Center of Murfreesboro sued Rutherford County on Wednesday, and the U.S. District Judge Todd Campbell granted the mosque an emergency order to let worshipers into the building before the holy month of Ramadan starts at sundown Thursday. Federal prosecutors also filed a similar suit. But a county building codes inspector announced Thursday the mosque would not be ready for occupancy for at least 2 weeks, reported the Tennessean.com. Septic facilities needed to be installed and approval needed to be obtained from the State Department of Environment and Conservation. The fire marshal and other entities, said Rutherford County Building Codes Director David Jones after he inspected the Islamic Center on Thursday morning. There's also exterior work that needs to be done before the building is ready for its final inspection, he said. The future of the mosque had been in question since May, when a local judge overturned the county's approval of the mosque construction. This month, he ordered the county not to issue an occupancy permit for the 12,000-square-foot building. Stop! My friends, multiple choice question. When jihadist literature, anti-Semitic literature, anti-Christian literature, anti-American literature, pro-terrorist literature, when it's distributed in the United States, it is distributed from where? A, burger restaurants. B, dry cleaners. C, bowling alleys. D, mosques. Item from FrontPageMag.com. After Toulouse, where 3 Jewish children and a rabbi were gunned down last March by a French Islamist, Europe witnesses another massacre of Jews. At least 8 people were killed, 6 of them Israelis, and over 30 others injured in a terror attack on a bus carrying Israelis in Burgas, east of the Bulgarian capital of Sofia. We are waiting to know which Islamic hand is behind the new bloodbaths of Israelis. In Bulgaria, it's already becoming certain that Islamism is proving to be more efficient than the Nazis. On March 9, 1942, an order arrived from Berlin to deport 50,000 Bulgarian Jews. Adolf Eichmann's office was ready to operate. In the morning, Tsar Boris II flew to Berchtesgaden to ask Adolf Hitler why he needed the Jews. Reluctant to admit the fact of the gas chambers, Hitler answered the Jews must build roads. Roads are also needed in Bulgaria, answered the king. According to rumor, the Germans poisoned Boris II. The royal plane returned to Sofia with a dead king. His brother, Prince Cyril, a Germanophile, became regent. While Bulgaria arose in the parliament, the intellectuals, the ordinary people, everybody protested against the Jews' deportation. In some Bulgarian towns, the Jews were assembled to be put on trains, but the trains couldn't be loaded until Tsar Boris signed a proclamation authorizing the deportation. My friends, you get the picture. For 2,000 years, Jews were hunted and murdered in Europe. That was nothing compared to what's coming from the Muslims if they get their way. Item from the Daily Caller. The Mexican government has been working with the United States Department of Agriculture to increase participation in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, or Food Stamp Program. USDA has an agreement with Mexico to promote American food assistance programs, including food stamps among Mexican Americans, Mexican nationals, and migrant communities in America. Stop! It's just a good thing that we have so much extra money here in America. It's a good thing that our coffers are overflowing. It's a good thing we've got just about no debt. It's a good thing our budget is balanced every year. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to afford stuff like this. Makes me sick. Fix things at home before you start doling out my tax dollars to the rest of the world. Item from Paul Joseph Watson at Infowars.com. A Harris County woman pulled a gun on a CenterPoint energy worker to prevent the installation of a smart meter in a confrontation that highlights concerns about the devices being used to spy on Americans' energy use, as well as possible health impacts. 55-year-old Thelma Taormina has signs posted on her front gate warning utility employees not to trespass on her land, as well as another that reads, "No smart meters are to be installed on this property." However, that didn't stop a CenterPoint energy worker from attempting to replace Taormina's old electricity meter with a new device that wirelessly beams back information on each home's energy use to a central hub. When the worker began physically pushing Taormina out of the way in an effort to install a smart meter, Taormina drew her gun and demanded the worker leave her property. Stop! My friend's a very, very wise man that I once knew, may he rest in peace, told me something that, not surprisingly, was very wise and very savvy. He said, "Howard, you don't ever pull a gun on someone unless you're ready to use it." Now, this woman pulled a gun on the energy worker and then demanded that he leave. And so what came of it? A short news item that most people will not see. If she had shot the guy, and I'm not saying she should have, but if she had shot the guy, that would strike a real blow against these intrusive smart meters that are helping to destroy our freedom, our liberty, and our privacy. I'm not telling you to shoot anybody, and I'm not saying she should have shot the guy. I'm saying never pull a gun unless you're going to use it. Item from Raw Story. Representative Michelle Bachmann on Wednesday ran from CNN cameras as senior congressional correspondent Dana Bash asked her about her accusations that Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's Deputy Chief of Staff, Huma Abedin, was infiltrating the U.S. government on behalf of radical Islamists in the Muslim Brotherhood. Stop! Michelle Bachmann ran from the media? Why isn't the media chasing Huma Abedin? Why isn't the media chasing Hillary Clinton? Why is this being spun as Islamophobia rather than as a potential dire threat to this nation's security? Earlier on Wednesday, Senator John McCain had taken to the Senate floor to rip Bachmann and four other Republican lawmakers for their, quote, specious and degrading attacks on Abedin. Stop. You, Mr. McCain, are degrading. I've read articles, and my friends, I've read at least one of them here online, here on the radio, articles I found online, which point out that the Huma Abedin has some kind of ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Explain to me, Mr. McCain, why you're not ripping that, why you're not investigating that. My friends, no one's going to conquer the United States of America except Americans. We seem to be doing a pretty good job of it. Item from Finian Cunningham, writing at Global Research. The London Olympics are fast taking on the appearance and tone of a full-scale land, sea, and air military operation rather than an international sporting event. With surface-to-air missiles stationed on top of residential apartment blocks, Royal Navy battleships on alert, and Royal Air Force fighter jets and helicopters patrolling the skies over Britain's capital, there's a foreboding sense of a nation at war, instead of an occasion of internationalist fraternity that the ancient games are supposed to embody. The games begin in just under 2 weeks. The latest development is the announcement by Britain's Ministry of Defense that 3,500 extra troops are being deployed to ensure security at the 30 venues hosting sporting events. This is in addition to the 13,500 military personnel already assigned to protect members of the public and sports teams from the risk of terrorist attacks. Stop! My friends, when does the stupidity end? Name a group of people known for acts of terrorism. Go ahead, name one. If you said Baptists, wrong. If you said Methodists, you're wrong. If you said Presbyterians, you're wrong. If you said Jews, you're wrong. If you said Buddhists, you're wrong. Keep going. Keep guessing. Instead of tons of police and helicopters and battleships, why don't we just see to it that this group of people, and I won't tell you who they are, who are always connected with terrorism, why don't we make sure that they are not at the Olympic Games? I'm sorry, what's that? You can't do that. Okay, fine. Then roll out the battleships. Roll out the military helicopters, because we now live in an armed camp. But as long as we're not politically incorrect, that would be the worst thing. We'll be right back.
Have you been dreaming of new kitchen cabinets? Maybe you want to reface or repair your current ones but think it's too expensive. Are you on a budget but know you need to maximize and organize the storage space in your home, basement, or workplace? What about you gun enthusiasts who would like a customized display cabinet, or those emergency preppers who want a hidden storage unit designed for that unique space? Whether you want quality custom design cabinets, specialty woodwork, or budget repairs, Custom Cabinet Shop can help you with whatever you need. High-end or low-end, remodel, reface, or replace. This family-owned and operated business since 1980 will help you design just about any project. Call 303-340-1390. That's 303-340-1390. Find us on Facebook for your free quote and single on-site visit. Service area is limited.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Herb.
All of God's people have a ministry, and it's a trick of our enemy to keep God's people sick and worn out to hinder their ability to minister. We are often judgmental toward people who are addicted to booze, cigarettes, and drugs, but we at the Green Herb have found that most of God's people are unknowingly addicted to the two most addictive products in America, sugar and soda pop. If you have a sickness or disease, or if you're just tired a lot, the Green Herb has an herbal product that is formulated just for you, and it's just $15.95. Come by the Green Herb, located in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, on the I-70 Frontage Road North, 1 mile west of Kipping, or call 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372, or go to our website, www.thegreenherb.com, and be sure to listen to the Green Herb Show with Linda and Dr. Cass every Tuesday at 1 o'clock on KHNC.
He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
My friends, what does it mean when we say that the Jews are the chosen people? a lot of people incorrectly believe it means we're better than everybody else. It doesn't mean that, unfortunately. It doesn't mean that at all. What does it mean to be the chosen people? I've heard anti-Semites take their crack at it. Why don't we listen to someone who knows what he's talking about? Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, the chief rabbi of the United Kingdom, is holding court and talking about what it means to be the chosen people. Let's listen in.
We say we are a chosen people. Asher Bochabanu Mikol Ha'amim, who chose us from all other nations. And that's really quite a difficult thing to say because, after all, aren't we all one humanity? Didn't God create every human being in his image? Didn't he, after the flood, make a covenant with all humanity? So what does it mean to be chosen? And I think it means something like this. God makes us all different. And he took one person, Abraham, and then one couple, Abraham and Sarah, who became a family, who became a tribe, who became a collection of tribes, who became the Jewish people, and said, be different, to teach the world the dignity of difference. That you can be different from others and still be special. You can be different from others and still be loved by God, because God loves diversity. That's why he created such an interesting universe. He could have created one language. Well, there was just one of Babel. He said, no, I want lots of languages. Today, there are 6,000 languages spoken throughout the world. There are 250,000 different kinds of leaf, 3 million different forms of life. Every human being, even identical twins, are different because God loves difference. And he gave us, the world, the Jewish people, who really are different, and said, you see these people who are different, I love them. I chose them. Because difference does not mean you are hated, reviled, treated an outsider. Most people do that to people who are different. God says, difference is what I love. And it is that message that we, the Jewish people, were placed down here on earth to make real in people's lives, people's consciousness, and in history, the people who dared to be different.
Everyone is indeed made in God's image, and everyone can be holy, and everyone can contribute to a better world. It's only when we start trying to muscle other people and force them to be like us that wars happen. Let's avoid them if we can. Item from Bill Sardi, headline, The American Dream Has Changed. Have you? I quote, if this sounds like I'm re-beating a drum I've already played, it is. I've learned Americans need to hear a message a few times over before it begins to sink in. The dream of coming to America, the land of freedom, to live in your own home, to send your kids to school to get a college education, to have opportunity that does not exist elsewhere for kids to live better than their parents, that was the American dream. The American dream is now living in the past tense. Today, anyone buying a home in the suburbs is purchasing a depreciating asset. Yes, the interest rate on home loans is lower than ever, but if you need to move any time in the first 15 years after you buy a home and prices continue to decline, which they will, you will surely be left holding a half-empty bag. There is a shadowy inventory of 4 million homes that will be dumped onto the market as foreclosures in the next 4 years. Greater supply and stagnant demand equal lower home values. Better to buy agricultural property that's rising in value. Farms are rising in value on land that was once planned for housing tracts. The residential real estate market isn't going to return to normalcy till 2023. Today, any young person taking out a student loan is not likely to find a job to pay it back. Today, a college education may not be worth the money and effort put into obtaining a paper diploma. You didn't notice that billionaires like Larry Ellison, Bill Gates, and Steve Jobs never finished college. Immigrant families are especially lost in a time lag, still believing the American dream exists. That is the very reason they came to America. If America continues to outsource its labor overseas and automates many other jobs out of existence, look what email did to the post office, the conclusion is that jobs may not be more than low-paying and part-time in the service industry as manufacturing jobs are in decline. Your children can look forward to a career as a part-time massage therapist, big box store greeter, or street sandwich board advertiser, unquote. Whew. My friends, that is an ugly, ugly truth, but a truth nonetheless. Item from politicalvelcraft.org, Dateline, Surrey, England. The last place anyone would think to look for a birth record of someone claiming to be a natural-born U.S. citizen is Great Britain. The very inclusion of the Article 2 eligibility mandate in the U.S. Constitution was explicitly intended by the Founding Fathers of America to prevent a then British-born enemy usurper from attaining the office of the U.S. presidency and thereby undermining the sovereignty of the newly formed nation. In the absence of honor, courage, and justice on the part of those serving in the U.S. Congress and federal judiciary, Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio's cold case investigative group has concluded the only law enforcement analysis of the image of Obama's alleged certificate of live birth posted to a government website in April 2011 and found it to be the product of criminal fraud and document forgery. The seeming endless evidence against Obama has now taken investigators to the foreign archives of Great Britain, wherein it has been discovered that vital events occurring under the jurisdiction of the British colony in the Protectorate of East Africa prior to 1965 were recorded and held in the main office of the British Registrar in England until 1995 before being archived in the BNA. Stop. Mr. Obama, you want to make the doubts go away? Show us a real document proving you were born in the United States of America. If you can't do that, then get your ass out of 1600 Pennsylvania Boulevard, Avenue, whatever. Item from the Activist Post. Are you on the doctor's list of people who should be exempt from smart meters? In the last couple of years, paying electricity residents have witnessed a startling use of force regarding installation of smart meters. This is after complaining to public utility commissions about legitimate and serious health problems that were absent before the installations. More alarming is that doctors' notices on behalf of their patients are completely dismissed. One doctor implored help from a commission that the situation wouldn't be so urgent if patients had the ability to choose another company or have the ability to opt out, something they never asked for or actually protested in the first place. But tables are turning as awareness grows and doctors, researchers, and activists are joining forces to resist the smart meter invasion. The prestigious American Academy of Environmental Medicine has just issued a report emphasizing that patients with any of myriad health issues be accommodated to avoid not only having smart meters installed on their own properties, but to be accommodated also for their neighbors' smart meters, unquote. Well, my friends, that would protect people's health, but it would give the government less control. You think it'll ever happen? Do you think you'd like to buy a bridge in Brooklyn? We'll be back.
Herb's Meats and Specialty Foods sells hard-to-find clean meats for your family's table. Cured beef bacon, veal, turkey, and summer sausage, all pork-free. Also all available in collagen casings. That's right, collagen casings and pasture-raised, healthy, no hormones, no antibiotics beef at Herb's Meats and Specialty Foods in Broomfield. Call 303-499-8166 or stop by 1000 Depot Hill Road at the intersection of Highway 287 and 10th Avenue in Broomfield. Ask about shipping.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
Have you been dreaming of new kitchen cabinets? Maybe you want to reface or repair your current ones but think it's too expensive. Are you on a budget but know you need to maximize and organize the storage space in your home, basement, or workplace? What about you gun enthusiasts who would like a customized display cabinet? Or those emergency preppers who want a hidden storage unit designed for that unique space? Whether you want quality custom design cabinets, specialty woodwork, or budget repairs, Custom Cabinet Shop can help you with whatever you need. High-end or low-end, remodel, reface, or replace. This family-owned and operated business since 1980 will help you design just about any project. Call 303-340-1390. That's 303-340-1390. Find us on Facebook for your free quote and single on-site visit. Service area is limited.
My friends, there exists a variety of anti-Semite out there who would have you believe Israel is a warmongering aggressor nation that just hates everybody. And the last thing that they want is peace. In fact, even the Time magazine cover asked why Israel doesn't want peace. It's crap. Israel is surrounded by enemies. Israel is the Jewish state. It wants peace more than anything else. It wants to survive. It has no aggressive tendencies towards those around it. It merely wants peace. Here's a video that you will find linked on my Facebook page. You'll find it on YouTube. The headline, "Don't be misled. Israel wants peace." Let's listen.
If you get all your information about the Middle East from the media, then you're being led astray. When the media tells you that Israel is not interested in peace, they're ignoring what real Israelis are saying.
I want peace.
I want peace, of course.
We all want peace.
Peace. I want peace with the Palestinians.
I want peace with the Palestinians. I want peace.
I want peace with the Palestinians.
I want peace.
I want peace with the Palestinians.
Peace is what we need. We must have peace.
Peace is very peaceful children.
I want peace. I want peace. I want peace. And I want peace. I want peace.
I want peace.
I want peace with the
I want peace just like any other.
My friends, there's a graphic up. Now, by the way, this comes from honestreporting.org. There's a graphic up, and when you go to my Facebook page and watch the video as opposed to just listening to it, you'll see it. It says 71% of Israelis support a two-state solution, namely the creation of a Palestinian state side by side with Israel. The good news is this: Israelis want peace. The bad news is they haven't got the first idea of how to achieve it. 71% of Israelis support a two-state solution. My friends, a two-state solution is a blade, a knife, a sword at the neck of Israel. Does Howard Riell want peace with the Palestinians? Absolutely. 100%. But I'm not a fool. There's only one way to have peace with the Palestinians, and that's for them to go. They got to go. They got to live someplace else. Where? I don't care. I don't care. They got to go. There's no such thing as living in peace with them, which is why other Arab countries don't want them. I don't want to see anybody shot or blown up. I don't want to see any violence. I want a world of peace. But you're not going to have it as long as you are playing host to a couple of million people who want to kill you. Can't happen. Not on earth. Not on earth. Do Israelis want peace? Yes. Are they going about it the wrong way? Yes. Most of them are. Let's finish listening.
All 6 Israeli prime ministers, since the signing of the Oslo Accords, agreed to establish a Palestinian state, myself included.
When the media tells you that Israel is not interested in peace, they're ignoring the actions Israel is taking. Withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, teaching peace and coexistence, and the willingness to recognize a Palestinian state. When the media tells you that Israel is not interested in peace, they're ignoring what each and every Israeli prime minister has been working tirelessly toward at every opportunity. So if Israelis want peace, and their leaders want peace, and Israel acts for peace, then why does the media identify Israel as the obstacle to peace? Are you being informed by the media or misled by the media? Why not try some honest reporting?
Folks, you're going to go to honestreporting.com when the show is over. And you're going to get a dose of truth. Truth is what we need. You know, there's an expression in the Talmud, the seal of God, the official seal. You know, like a king has an official stamp or a seal. That's his signature, his official signature. The seal of God is truth. If you don't have truth, you haven't got much of anything. Speaking of which, here comes Mr. Obama. Item from Breitbart.com. Top 10 things Obama is not releasing. Joel Pollack of Breitbart.com released the top 10 list. Top 10 things Obama has not released in response to the fact that Obama suggested Romney may be a felon. Here's a summary. Number 1, Fast and Furious documents. Obama used executive privilege to save AG Eric Holder's behind. 2, health reform negotiations. Obama made backroom deals worth millions with lobbyists and legislators. 3, Freedom of Information Act requests. Obama is the worst at complying with Freedom of Information Act requests. 4, Riell White House guest list. Many visits are secret. Met with lobbyists off-site. 5, Rashid Khalidi tape. Obama attended the 2000 party for Rashid Khalidi, in which a lot of anti-Israel rhetoric was featured. Nobody is releasing the tape. 6, small dollar donors. Obama refused to release names of contributors who donated less than $200, even though he's accused of receiving illegal foreign contributions. McCain did this in 2008. Why couldn't Obama? 9, book proposal. Obama's literary agent said he was born in Kenya. Why hasn't anybody released the original book proposal? 10, academic transcripts. Can Obama prove his merit? Here's one extra they threw in. State Senate papers. Obama never produced any papers from his 8 years as a state senator. He says they could have all been thrown out, unquote. My friends, if there's anything that should be thrown out, it's Barack Obama. Item from Fox News. Liberals defend the health care of teachers, unions, and illegal immigrants, but when it comes to the troops, they want to cut. A proposal by the Obama administration would save $12.9 billion by 2017 from the TRICARE system. Fox News reports the proposed increases in health care payments by service members, which must be approved by Congress, are part of the Pentagon's $487 billion cut in spending. It seeks to save $1.8 billion from the TRICARE medical system in fiscal 2013 and $12.9 billion by 2017. Why? We shouldn't ask our military to pay our bills when we aren't willing to impose a similar hardship on the rest of the population, said Representative Howard Buck McKeon, chairman of the House Armed Services Committee and a Republican from California, in a statement to the Washington Free Beacon. We can't keep asking those who've given so much to give that much more, unquote. Wrong, Mr. McKeon. Obama can, because he just doesn't give a rip. We'll be back.
The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network. Restore Health and Counseling salutes the men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedoms. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they have fought hard to restore peace. America's troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. That's from Restore Health and Counseling at 4705 Paris Street, serving Northeast Denver with complete substance abuse counseling for adolescent to adult and for private as well as professional drug, alcohol screening and treatment and rehabilitation. Visit us at www.rhctherapy.com or call 303-373-1188. The Beth Messiah Congregation invites you to come and experience a Messianic Roots biblically based congregational fellowship as we observe God's Shabbat in Messiah Yeshua. Praise and worship services begin at 10:30 a.m., followed by an Oneg Shabbat meal mid-Rosh and fellowship. Beth Messiah Congregation is located at 8333 Acoma Way in North Denver. You can find out more information by calling 1-800-205-6245. Everyone's welcome, so join us this Shabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, good Sabbath.
Got 4 minutes left in the broadcast week. Let's make them count. Item from beforeitsnews.com. In a mere couple of weeks, July 27th, is being reported, the President of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama, will, under all expectation, sign the United States Arms Trade Treaty, which many believe will be the end of the Second Amendment of our Constitution as we know it. Likely to pass the UN and legitimate concern that our Senate, under the pledge pushed by of the Senate by Hillary Clinton, would ratify, it's likely to force the United States to, number one, enact tougher licensing requirements, creating additional bureaucratic red tape for legal firearms ownership. Two, confiscate and destroy all unauthorized civilian firearms, exempting those owned by the government, of course. Three, ban the trade, sale, and private ownership of all semi-automatic weapons, any that have magazines, even though they still operate in the same one-trigger pull. 4, create an international gun registry, clearly setting the stage for full-scale gun confiscation. 5, in short, overriding our national sovereignty and in the process providing license for the federal government to assert preemptive powers over state regulatory powers guaranteed by the 10th Amendment in addition to our Second Amendment rights. This plan is the real deal. Former UN Ambassador John Bolton has cautioned gun owners to take this very seriously and stated that the UN, quote, is trying to act as though this is really just a treaty about international arms trade between nation states. But there's no doubt that the real agenda here is domestic firearms control, unquote. My friends, if they take our guns, and the only people with guns will be criminals and the government. I don't mean to be redundant. Item from jihadwatch.org. U.S. flight schools are still not screening foreign nationals. Flight schools must not provide flight training to foreign students unless the Secretary of Homeland Security first determines that the student does not pose a threat to aviation or national security. But actually to do this checking would be Islamophobic. Anyway, what could go wrong? Item from honestreporting.com. The BBC Sport website's coverage of the forthcoming London Olympic Games features country profiles of all the competing nations. Every other country profile includes a listed capital city, all except for Israel. This even includes Palestine, where the BBC takes enormous liberties with its list of facts. According to the BBC, East Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine, unquote. My friends, don't be fooled. There ain't no such thing as Palestine. There ain't no such thing as the Palestinian people. There ain't no such thing as as an international Olympic committee that isn't trying to do its part to bring Israel down. Let's stop the stupidity. There has never been a Palestinian people. There are squatters and murderers and terrorists and supporters of terror who are squatting on Jewish land in Israel, and they like to call themselves Palestinians. Actually, the name Palestine comes from a Roman emperor. I doubt that they know that. But there ain't no Palestinian people. There are people who need to go. On the day that the Palestinians are pushed out of Israel, a change will happen in the world. The world will wake up and say, hey, we don't have to knuckle under to terrorists and murderers. On that day, the world becomes a lot safer, the future for our children and grandchildren becomes more secure, and we can start to focus on rebuilding the world's economy rather than playing patty cake with Muslims who want to kill us. Let's live in the real world, my friends. Let's live in the real world. And in the real world, there is no such thing as a Palestinian. We're done for the week. I'll be back on Monday. My friends, stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay angry.